Yes. Okay, guys. I'm just putting the audio here you're sure that you're in the right place. But we are having issues here with, I'm glad a lot of you decided to come along. Yes, we had 11 people in the other one, 7 people in this one, so that's okay. So hey Max, hey Marcus, thanks for being here. Just our interview is talking to someone else here, but yes.
No.
Okay, so so no, just so we don't have lots of people talking in the same room. Hey Max, so okay, so we are here now. Unfortunately, it's okay. So software is a crazy thing, right? You guys know this, right? And so we have in one browser we have you. I can see all of you here. You can hear me. But this in the other browser we're gonna have the camera, because for some reason the browser that works for you guys who join us doesn't work the camera for us to actually broadcast the camera. So I'm
an audio broadcast.
Yes. So we're right now we are having an audio broadcast, but we're gonna fix this in a minute. We're gonna put ourselves in the camera, right? But I'm already here with Werner, and say hello, Werner.
Hi.
So Werner is gonna talk about lots of different things. Werner is a pretty weird guy, because he works on so many things that you don't believe that he can actually work on anything. And then when you least expect, you call him in his office, and he's actually working from something else, right? So it's like, you do so many things, Werner.
Yeah. Well, right now I help automotive guys with way and low.
Okay. All right. This is not good. Okay. So hopefully you can now hear us.
So you blocked out the microphone.
Yes. So there's no yes. So okay. So hopefully you can hear us now without the crazy. Okay. Yes. So can you guys hear us? Okay. Thanks, Marcus. Thanks a lot. Okay. So they can hear us now. And so where's the camera? Is this camera right here? Yes, that's it. This camera right here. And maybe we can get this camera right here. Okay. That's nicer, isn't it? All right, so we can do like this. Okay. How about this? Say. All right. Okay. How about this? It's not too bad, right? Is it? Just kind of move this guy here, so we can see the chat. And I'm just gonna hope my video interface will actually handle both things at the same time, right?
Need a second monitor.
Yeah, maybe I need like 5 monitors.
Well, I'm doing with 2, but they're very useful.
Right. Okay. All right, guys. Better. Mark is saying that's better. Let's see if I can see you guys here on the chat. I think I can see you guys here in the chat. All right. So, okay. So now let's just forget about the computer, because the computer's messed it up. It looks like it's totally messed up anyway. So we're just gonna focus on the camera here, right? Okay. So guys, we are in this very, very crazy place. Let me quickly So here, this is our next speaker, right? Okay, he's gonna be, and this is not beer, it's lemonade actually, right? So we're in this hacker space here, guys. With it's an amazingly cool place. Let me walk you around a little bit. Yes. Okay, sorry, I'm not gonna go there. So let me quickly go around. So they have a kitchen here with lots of drinks and things like that, and going that way on that door, there's a bunch of people working. But I've been told, you see lots of people working right there. I've been told that we gotta ask them if we can videotape them. So I'm not gonna. I didn't ask yet, so I'm not gonna go unannounced. But I'll let Werner talk. So this is here, Werner. So Entropia here, guys, is a very, very cool place. Lots of hackers trying to, they meet here every day of the week. It's a hacker club, so people come and go, and they join here together to do hacking, lots of different things. So Werner, you are a guy that you've been hacking a lot of different things, right? So you come here often to Entropia?
Actually, here I have been the first time today.
Oh, you're today.
I know a place that's similar in Vienna that I've been to several times, and also given presentations at the Bitcoin meetup and Python user groups and JavaScript user groups. So there's a place that's also friendly with the Chaos Computer Club in Vienna called the MetaLab.
Okay.
So
cool.
it's a similar place, except it's not on the top of a building, but it's downstairs in the basement.
Right. So we're here in Karlsruhe. That is like 300,000 people city, and
the map is behind us.
Oh,
the map is behind
That's
us.
the map right behind us. What is the little dots here? It's like interesting place to go.
Open radio Wi-Fi nodes.
Oh, open radio Wi-Fi nodes. Pretty cool. All right. So and do you live here, or is
right now?
Right now you live here, and so what you're working on right now? And because you're working on the JCP, you're working on several open source projects. You're working with. So what is your real work?
So here you're actually wearing exactly the right T-shirt, because I have an automotive appliance vendor that writes the software for dashboards and other parts inside the vehicle for many car vendors. Porsche, VW, Mercedes, you name it. For almost all of those, at least some of the stuff that runs inside the car. So they're involved somehow.
So they're writing the dashboard, right?
They're writing the software that runs in the dashboard.
Oh, the software runs
in some cases, I guess, the dashboard. But their dashboards are mostly demonstrators to demonstrate the software. The dashboards are made by the car vendors themselves.
Okay, I see. But is the software in the dashboard Java? No.
No, I think in one case, in Audi's case, I was told some of it runs in Java.
Okay, cool.
But most of the other vendors use C and C++.
Okay, I see. Interesting. And so, but you're building like the build infrastructure, right? The Jenkins.
I'm automating with Jenkins. Yeah.
Okay, pretty cool. All right, so yeah, so Java is definitely everywhere, right? So, but and that's your real work, right? That's the thing that you do from what that you do from 9 to 1. Because you gotta have some more time.
From 9 to 6 or 7.
Just usually, 6 or 7, you're going to do it, and then after that. After 7 o'clock, you're gonna work on the JCP, on JSRs, on open source, on OpenJDK. Do you work on OpenJDK?
No, not OpenJDK.
Okay, so and you're working on all kinds of things. So tell us a little bit. What is you're working on Java EE, Java ME spec. You're working on CDI spec. CDI spec's going on right now. The 2.0, right?
2.0.
And you're also working on the units of measurement API, the money API. So all of those, tell us one that you like it a lot.
Well, units of measurement, of course, is quite exciting, because there are lots of areas. Right now, another project at Eclipse was proposed. It's not yet accepted, but it was proposed, that also uses one of our units of measurement projects called Eclipse UOMO. It's not currently using the last version of the JSR, simply because the lawyer, the Eclipse still needs to approve that it can be used for Eclipse.
Okay.
But whenever that is done, Eclipse Uomo is also supposed to upgrade to the latest version of the GSR, to GSR 363.
Mm-hmm.
And that project is driven by several large retail companies like Tengelmann and Aldi, Edeka, and others. And it's a sort of model-driven business logic for the retail space.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the quantities of, let's say, how many bottles are you selling on a particular day, or how many liters of a particular product have you sold in a shop in Karlsruhe or in Berlin or elsewhere. For that part, the proposed project also already uses Eclipse Uomo.
Okay.
So they contribute an initial code base, and what they are contributing already uses Uomo right now, and therefore the proposed Eclipse project is also supposed to use it.
Okay.
So there are new use cases for units of measurement. Eclipse Smart Home already wants to use it. They were the ones who originally asked Eclipse to be allowed to use it.
Okay.
Now there's a retail project, and of course the entire space of location tag is using our GSR that we did some years ago that was stopped, the GSR with the number 275, which
okay, so that's really interesting. And so basically, actually, the units of measurements. So first of all, tell us a little bit, what is the units of measurement API? Oh, so you mentioned lots of different interesting uses that people are going to use now, but what is really the API?
So it's basically a combination of a numeric value, either big decimal, or if you're using Java ME, then it would be a smaller data type, like double or float or integer, with a type-safe manifestation of a unit. So either meter or kilogram, or as we are in Karlsruhe, it could be hertz.
Hertz, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're telling me that Hertz, the Hertz guy, right, was born here, right?
No, I think he was born somewhere else in Germany, but he studied, and he had a doctor's chair.
Okay.
He was a professor.
So he created the units that was named after him.
He was a professor, and he made some research, and I think it was somebody else like Maxwell who did a theory, kind of like Alan Turing made a theory, and later he proved his own theory. And Friedrich Hertz proved a theory by Maxwell that actually proved the existence of electromagnetic waves.
Okay, cool. So basically, Hertz was here from Karlsruhe, right? So
it was,
yeah. So when you have megahertz and gigahertz and all that laptops,
it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the guy who made this discovery here in Karlsruhe at the university.
So that's really interesting that we're talking about units of measurement exactly here, right? Because hertz and megahertz is something that's on the daily life of every developer in a way or another, right? Even if it's it's under the keyboard. But so units of measurement basically gets a value like 1, 500, 1,000, whatever, a value, and we attach it to a unit, hertz, megabytes, meters, anything. But then we treat this whole thing as one, right? And then why is that important? I mean, why do we actually need to treat this? Isn't just numbers anyway?
It's not that basically the semantic value is not lost. And you treat them together in a combined type. It's basically a tuple or a pair, if you want.
Right. And
that pair is called quantity.
Right.
Our API.
Oh, okay. So basically, when you sum up values, it makes sense, right? So if I try to add 500 megahertz to 1,000 megabytes, then
you get an exception. Right. In most cases, even the compiler tells you that doesn't work.
Right. Okay, that's pretty cool. And I think there's some famous cases where this could have saved lots of money.
Well, fortunately, it was not lives or anything that was lost, but there was a so-called Gimli glider, an incident where an Air Canada jet, right after Canada had adopted the metric system, before they had the British imperial system, and the plane was coming, I think, from America, from the United States, and it flew to Canada or vice versa. And in one country, they still have them, American or imperial system with liquid ounces. And in Canada, they had just introduced the metric system with liters. And somewhere the fueling system had a glitch where they mixed one up with the other. So in the end, the plane ran out of fuel, and it had to land like a small gliding plane with no fuel. It could just barely land, and there was very little damage. And I think some people were bruised, but fortunately no deaths or serious injuries. Of course, the plane was damaged, so there was also some money lost.
Yes, lots of money lost.
A lot more money. Actually, somebody from CloudBees recently quoted that it was up to $500 million. Before we heard something about 125 or 150 million dollars. So you can think anywhere between 150 and 500 million dollars were lost for NASA when it lost the Mars Climate Orbiter.
So we are expecting that the Mars, it would land in Mars, something like that. And
I think it was supposed to take pictures.
Take pictures of land, but then it just got destroyed in Mars,
It crashed, or it went in outer space or something. It was lost.
It was completely lost. And why did it get lost?
Because Lockheed Martin and other subcontractors, they had actually agreed to use the metric system, but some subcomponents did not, because they're in the US. And rumor has it that they actually hired interns or some cheap labor to manually convert that, maybe using Microsoft Excel or using a pocket calculator. Who knows? And when their contract expired, the data was still handed over, but it was no longer converted. Basically, they got the raw data in the wrong format or in the wrong unit system, and that basically led to a problem with the control system of the spacecraft.
And then the spacecraft probably thought it was right here, but in fact it was right here, and then accelerated and destroyed itself, or went on outer space,
crashed into a Mars crater.
All right. So those are examples of software that could have, that's malfunctional because in some part of the software was treating as metrics, the other part of the software was treating something else, and no one noticed this until it crashed. And so you think the units of measurement APIs is targeted to fix this, right? Because if every time in your software you put the units, then if you try to do something that's not allowed, then it's gonna let you know.
Of course, if everybody talks about the cloud, you never know where your software will be executed, and therefore it's important to have a system that tells you, even if you're running something from the US under the assumption that you're using the US customer units, you know that they're US customer units, even if you're executing it here in Europe, and vice versa. And of course, if you transfer data, you also know where it's coming from and what the semantic value is.
Pretty nice. So now, I just want to jump to a career question here, because you're talking all this cool thing about the units of measurement API. But the question I think that everyone is watching this is probably thinking is, so all this work that you did for units of measurement, that was part of your day job, or because you guys had to write the specification, write the source code for this, write the tests, talk to a lot of people about it, and have meetings about all these things. All of this is part of your work, or you're doing this on the side?
For some of us, for example, there are members of our expert group who work in a company that deals with emergency cases. They work with the Department of Homeland Security for things like rescue work when fire breaks out, just in Canada, or hurricanes. So for them, they have actual use cases that they need to do that, use it.
But how about you? I know, some people are being paid to do things like this, but how are you?
Well, right now I work for an automotive company, so even though they are not using Java in many places, at least making sure what type of unit they're dealing with is also important.
Right. So they are paying your work on the.
No,
that's what I'm asking.
they're paying my day work.
They're paying your day
So
work.
when I work on the API, I do this after hours.
Right. That's what I thought. So although those things are interesting for you because you work on this space, you don't work on this on your day job, right?
Yeah. In that case, I don't.
Yeah. So how do you find time? I mean, is it worth for you to go after your day job and start working on specs and JSRs and being a volunteer in those projects?
Yes. For example, the prior project in Switzerland for an insurance company, I would not even have got the client to order my work if it wasn't for the money JSR, the other JSR that we already finished last year.
Right.
Because some of the people in the project that were the decision makers, which of the contractors in the end they asked on board, some of them were subscribed to the mailing list for money. And I know in some of the cases they told me, yeah, for other people, we would ask them to come to us in Switzerland and sit there and do some dummy coding example, but we don't need you to do this because we know what you did for the Java Money API.
Right.
So in that case, even though what I did in the Java Money API before was also in my spare time, but it then helped me to get the order for a project where maybe somebody else without that knowledge would not have been accepted.
Right. So that's pretty cool. So actually, you're improving your career when you're working on this, right? Because you get better jobs. You get people know you.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys in particular, they saw your code, right?
Yeah.
So you need to submit a resume.
Yeah.
They just call you and said, "I trust you because I saw your code already."
Mm-hmm. In some cases, that happened. Yes.
That's pretty cool. And how do you find time? Because from everything you listed that you do, you need to have like 5 lives to actually do all of that. So how do you find time?
Well, in some cases, of course, I need to delegate. That's also somebody in the Apache Device Map project was just asking us why we don't do daily or monthly releases. And I told him, well, there are some committers, but they don't commit. So that's why we release less rapidly. Because in some cases, of course, people think because something is open source, it's free, and they don't have to do anything. They can just consume it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I told him, well, somebody has to contribute.
Right.
And if there are only 2 or 3 contributors, then things may take a little longer. If 2 or 3 other people contribute, then it may go faster.
Okay, cool. And you have this little device like the Edison that you wanted to show.
Yeah.
So what is this?
So that's the Intel Edison running Java. So that's why Duke is also on it.
Uh-huh. So what are you doing with Intel Edison?
I run different code and apps. So this one is running Java apps, including the units of measurement JSR. But I have another one that I didn't bring with me here. But
can I open this here?
Yeah. But it's running Node.js and Angular. But the good thing is, based on the Mars Climate Orbiter that we just mentioned before. Right. Somebody on GitHub wrote a very similar Node.js JavaScript API that's also type safe for units of measurement. The only difference, because JavaScript is not a compiled language, it only works at runtime, so you don't get compile time errors because there is no compiled code. But at runtime, it behaves very similar to JSR 363 because it was modeled after JSR 275, and they called it MCO after the Mars Climate Orbiter. So they have a sense of humor. Okay. But running this on the Node.js part, either on Raspberry Pi or on the Intel Edison, you can use this library in your JavaScript code and have a very similar unit safety as you have with our JSR on Java. So it doesn't matter whether you program Java or JavaScript, when you need to exchange data that's sensitive about units of measurement, you can use similar libraries on both sides.
That's pretty cool. And you know, I'm curious about this Duke here because it's a case.
Yeah.
Was that printed or something like this?
Yes, in Berlin, the Intel Hackathon partnered with a 3D printing shop, and they had a 3D printer that was also multicolored, so they fortunately got the Duke rather well.
Right. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right. So I'll ask you to help me interview your friend.
And, I also got a belt in Bern, by the way.
Oh, a belt.
I don't. Do you see the camera?
No.
That's the.
What is this?
It's the number of the GSR.
Oh, 363.
They make belts from street hydrants in Bern, from used street hydrants.
Okay.
So this is a pretty unique belt. I don't think anybody else. So
right.
It's a spec lead belt if you want.
It's a spec lead belt.
Like the WBA belt. And
right.
Honestly, as a spec lead, you also have to do quite a lot of boxing, at least verbally.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty cool. So you know, this is Java in your daily life, I guess, right? You know, your belt is the GSR. That's pretty cool. So okay, here. So Max is asking, can you tell us how you got involved with the GSR?
Well, the first GSR or?
Well,
yeah.
Yes,
so I had written a small library that also contained a unit subsystem on, I think it was SourceForge, almost in the early days of Java, probably 1997, 98. So pretty soon after Java itself started. And I also used it in some projects, mostly with my clients. But it was also on SourceForge, but it was not so much used. And when I joined the JCP, some of the GSRs, including 275, I think 275, first I joined them basically out of interest because it covered something that I had already worked with. And after a year or two, one of the two spec leads left his company and he worked for another company where he was no longer able to contribute as a spec lead. So they were looking for a new co-spec lead for Jean-Marie, who's also still one of the co-spec leads in the current GSR. So I told them what I had done in this open source project. I probably also showed them some of the examples. And then the expert group voted and accepted me to help them as a co-spec lead.
That's pretty cool.
It was basically based on open source work that I had already done for a smaller community, and this allowed me to do it for a much larger community.
Right. That's pretty nice. Okay, so let me introduce a friend of ours here. Can you come here? Yes. No, you sit down, Werner. Yes, we get both.
Okay.
Yes. No. Let him sit in the middle.
Okay. Okay. Man in the middle.
Yes,
man in the middle attack.
Hello.
Yeah. So why adjust the camera here? How about tell us your name and where you work and what you're doing here in the Hacker Lab.
Yeah, my name is Clemens. I work here in Karlsruhe as a Java developer, and what to tell? I don't know.
Not to tell, right? So so it's better that I ask the question then, right?
I think so. I mean,
all right. So, okay, guys. So Clemens is I'm back here. Okay. So Clemens is a Java developer we found here. He came from the Hacker Labs because we, the other side of this wall here, there's a bunch of Java developers, hackers, trying to come up with some interesting things to do. I think they're talking with Ruslan right now about cloud computing. I heard some things there. So Ruslan is probably trying to convince them that Jelastic is a cool product or something. And so Clemens was talking with me, and we're talking about old times of Sun, everything. And he was telling me the project that he was working on, right? So Clemens, you are you're a Java developer. You work with Java on the day job, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And then one of the things that you're doing. So before you start here, Marcus was saying, "Nice T-shirt, Bruno," because he was talking about the Jenkins T-shirt, right? And so both of you guys here mentioned that you are implementing Jenkins in your company and things like that. So why do you think that a developer as like you it has any benefit in implementing like automation tools like Jenkins in your project? Why do you think it's this important?
Well, it makes so that without automation, people have to do manual stuff. They have to repeat some stuff. They maybe they write their own scripts or something like this, and you get with something like Jenkins, you get better standardization, I would say, of how the processes work, and you get better transparency. For example, if you see the configuration, and well, that helps a lot. So you can copy this, you can clone this. It's reproducible. That makes a lot of difference, because without these kind of tools, people would just, well, I don't know, do something and other people could not have a look at it, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, Jenkins is the automation from things that you do, right? You know, it's funny that a lot of us developers in our day job, what we do is automate other people's lives, right? Because we create software that automate things that other people are gonna do, and then when it comes to automate what we do, we're like, oh, we don't have time to automate.
I mean, I know this problem, but the thing is, so I have a background in system administration, and I'm changed inside the company to be a Java developer for various reasons.
To dev, not from
I would say, I'd say, but so mainly because I knew the internal stuff, and I'm doing internal software development. So I'm also a little bit occupied with the build system, and it's interesting that Jenkins is not only used for I would say continuous integration, building the products and stuff like this, but people use it also for other things. So
for example, what else? You know, what else do you use Jenkins for? Because I do have some customers that use Jenkins for a wide variety of things, but that's a lot of times when you go to the project, people don't realize that you can use for so many things. So what else do you use Jenkins for?
I've worked not that many things, I would say. So there's
just one.
I'm not sure if I can talk a lot about these things. I would say there is some
just generic, like, you know,
generic. I mean,
to install something somewhere, you know, just kind of.
But that's not what we do there. So our Jenkins installation is very close to continuous integration, I would say. So but in theory, I mean, you could use it for a lot of other things.
Okay. Cool. That's fine. So now one of the
Bosch, they even demonstrated a chocolate factory running Jenkins.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
That sounds cool. Okay, a chocolate factory. That's.
It was only a demo project, but it showed the ways that you can use Jenkins jobs, and you parameterize them to have, for example, dark chocolate or white chocolate. And
okay. It's pretty nice. All right. So one of the things that's you were talking about is you recently started working on a project for yourself, right? Yeah. And you're trying to do it in Rust, right? You start to
thought about it, doing it in Rust.
In Rust, right? Yeah. So you're a Java developer. You decided, well, I'm gonna just learn Rust to do this project, right? Instead of using Java that I know, I'm just gonna learn a new language to do this stuff.
Yeah,
right?
I mean.
There's a lot of Python in our project too, by the way.
Yeah.
If you are not the main programmer, but there's a lot of Python there.
Yeah, but then you thought Rust would not fit for this particular project, and you settled for another language.
Yeah, actually, so what I thought maybe Rust is it's a very interesting language. I would like to try it out, but then I decided that maybe this, even though it's a small personal project, I thought maybe I should go with something that I had some prior experience, and then leave Rust for another day for some small hello world-ish stuff that maybe evolves a bit over time. I started using for my little project using Google Go,
Golang, yeah.
And because I've done something before with this, small tools and stuff like this, and it's pretty nice. Had a nice standard library, and I thought that the stuff that comes with the standard library will bring me faster to what I want to accomplish. So.
Right. It's funny that a lot of developers kind of think that, oh well, because I know this one language well, then I should use this one language for everything. And then here's you actually know one language well, that's Java, and then you try different languages to do this one project for you. Why do you think it's important for you to learn new languages?
Mostly out of curiosity, I would say.
That's good.
I mean, it's of course you broaden the scope, you maybe learn some new concepts. For example, with Rust, this has a lot of like these optionals, which I know from Java, but they were recent-ish introduced, I would say. So you can transport this concept, and it helps understanding the new concept, because people that aren't using developing in Java would say most. So if you do a lot of C development or something like this, you don't have think you don't come across this concept. So if they go from C to Rust, which is a little bit, I think, the audience there, then it's a completely new concept. But on the other way around, I mean, there's nice things you can learn. And also, some languages come with completely differently structured standard libraries, and you maybe can arrive at some good conclusions how to structure your code in the future to attain some desirable structure, I would say. So
right. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So I think that's so and for you too, Werner. I mean, you are also getting yourself into different projects and different things. And do you think that for developers in general, it's a good way for them to improve their careers and they try to experiment with new things?
I mean, I worked with languages at university, for example, like Pascal, that since the creators of Scala, Martin Odersky primarily, I think he was a student or partner of Nicolas Wirth, who created Pascal. So there are aspects in Scala that if you learn Pascal in your university or work with it before, you will notice and recognize some of them in Scala. So it made me understand Scala a lot quicker.
That's interesting. I was a Pascal developer at some point. I think one of my longest run software was done in Pascal.
Okay, cool.
All right. And so if so you're just starting this project with Golang and you're trying to learn Rust. So if you had one tip to give to developers on how they should approach a new language, how they should learn a new language, what kind of things you'd suggest?
I would probably go with think about some small project. Doesn't need to make sense, but of course it's cooler if you have some incentive to do it. And then decide for a language that sounds interesting for you, I would say, and then just go for it. Find resources on the internet and try to implement your idea in that language, and then you will learn as you go. So
yeah, because I think that's that actually putting something in practice makes a lot of difference, right? Because until you put things in practice, then you can't really learn very well, right? You just kind of learn with toy things. But if you try to solve a problem, then you have to really understand it to solve it. And I think this Werner, when you do open source project and you do specifications, this is also true too, right? Because if you do a specification out of the blue, just thinking about generic stuff, you have to have a project that you're going to apply that thing to actually get the sense of how important that is and how to do it better, right?
Yeah, in most cases, for example, the Apache Tamaya project that Anatol created after the Money GSR, it actually, his interest started when he still worked at Credit Suisse and actually realized how much of that is used there. And they also, many of the projects reinvented the wheel for creating a configuration management system. So he figured, wouldn't it be great to have some more standardized way of doing that?
Right.
So it was also out of a need that he had come across in many cases. And with Money, actually, it was quite similar. I had projects over the last 2 decades where often the project and one or even several persons dedicated their entire time to reinvent a money type because it didn't exist in Java.
Okay.
So then we finally ended up creating a standard for that, which finished last year. But before that, and probably some of the projects that are legacy projects in place, they still use some home-written or reinvented code.
Okay. All right. So, so I think we have projects. You get a project, you get a live project, then you can apply the ideas and everything. And now both of you are actually, so you have an interesting project you're going to work on. So you're going to learn. You're going to do the right things. But how do you find the time?
For me, it's actually quite easy. I'm working on it part-time because I like to have a lot of free time. So,
okay.
I have a lot of free time.
Okay.
So
I see.
but also there's a lot of other things that are going on. So I don't have all the time to spend at the computer, but I still spend a lot of time at the computer. So I can use it for, I don't know, reading about interesting stuff or starting some software project or something like this.
Right. Okay. So basically, you are, so actually, this is a pretty cool. This is a pretty cool idea. To work part-time, and then you can do anything you want the rest of the time, right? That's nice. So actually, I was talking with David Blevins the other day, the guy from Tommy Tribe, and David was telling me that the way he works on projects is that he works on one project that pays little, but gives you a lot of room to learn new stuff, right? And then after that, he works on a project that applies the thing that he learned and pays well. And then next time he's going to do another project that lets him learn something he wants to learn, and then another project. So I think it's kind of like part-time too.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Even all the money you have, so you can have some slots where you learn stuff. So.
Right. So you're getting I think you're doing a better approach. Right.
Yeah, well, it's a very secure approach, I would say, because you don't have to worry a lot if you're self-employed or something like this. And there's a lot of worries. And but if you're you're there for 60% of the time, you do the stuff there, but then after that you have some space to do whatever you want.
Right. So how you guys push yourself to keep doing these things? Because I think there's one thing that I see a lot is that people think, how do you do all those things? And you have family. I'm not sure if you guys have family, but I do have family. But and I think it takes a lot of energy for you to push yourself to go. Because after you do your work, you have 40% of your day free. You could decide, well, I'm just going to go nature walking and maybe watch a movie and sleep the whole afternoon. But you don't do this, right? You push yourself to do interesting things. The same way as you, Werner, right? You get off job, and instead of just going relax, you say, no, I'm going to do this other stuff here. How do you push yourself to do these things?
Well, for me, it's maybe I was in the spot, I would say, that before. So when I used to work full-time, I didn't have the energy to do anything. And the problem is I also often used to do nothing, even if I had free time, I would say. But it comes with hobbies, I would say. There are some various interests, the stuff that I'm interested in, and you want to pursue these hobbies, and you grow some sort of habit to this, I would say. Then after a couple of years of doing a lot of small things and you pursuing hobbies, you kind of you're restless. I mean, I'm quite often I sit at home and think I would like to do something, and and then I try to do something.
Oh man,
it comes with time, I would say. There's no real motivational strategy behind it. It's just get accustomed to doing a lot of stuff, and then it.
Okay,
so
basically you get into the habit of doing a lot of things, and then get to a point where you want to do lots of things just because you're on the roll, right?
Yeah.
Isn't this a curse? Because you always want to do more, and then
maybe there's a lot of things I would like to do, but there's also I don't know. I mean, it for some reason it works out, I would say. I mean, I'm also spending a lot of time in the garden, for example. And so there's some downtime, I would say, but I'm not sure if how this process works in my mind, actually.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So now, one question: does this help you get new projects or new jobs, or you're totally secure on your half day that you work, that you don't even need to worry about getting new jobs? How?
I would say I'm content with this solution, I would say, because because I value my free time so much, and then I would say it's a good solution for me. So there's no big pressure to move on, because the job is sort of the job, I would say. And even if the job were bad or something like this, which it fortunately isn't, because I can do a lot of interesting stuff. But even then, it wouldn't be that bad. So because it doesn't take the whole space in your life, I would say. So that answers the question.
No, it does. It does. That's actually very interesting. It's a very interesting tip, because a lot of people say that, I hate my job, or I'm not satisfied with my job, I want to move. But actually, if they had some very interesting things that they could do in the end of their day, for example, that the fact that they're working and guarantee their lives and their family lives and everything, and if they saw this as guaranteeing that they have the time to do the rest of things, maybe they would actually be happy with their job, right?
Could be.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's one or two companies here. I believe one also hosts meetups here in Karlsruhe, and when I spoke to them afterwards during the socialize breaks, I think one or two of these companies also practice something that you probably know from companies like Google, where the employees, even though they're employed full-time, but they have a certain percentage of either 20% or 25%, where they can work on something that they like, even open source projects of their choice. So some companies also seem to allow their employees a certain freedom.
Yeah, I've heard that some of those companies also have been cutting back on some of that too, right? But I think that's one of the things that I worry a lot is when people kind of offload to their company, to their bosses, to their friends, or whoever, the decisions are actually good for themselves, right? So you say, okay, when my boss let me, I will work on open source project. So I think this is the wrong approach, right? Because it should say, I'm going to work on open source project because I want to do it, because it's really important for my career, and because otherwise, if your boss say you can't work, then you're not going to do anything, right? So I think you things like you doing, you're taking responsibility for your own career, right? Because you're deciding, I'm not gonna. I could work full time. I could get double of what I get today, but I'm not going to do this. I work less because I want to improve my career on doing the things that I want. That's very courageous, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I'm not sure if it's courageous, but as a software developer, as somebody who works in IT, we're in a kind of a special place. That's not for everyone. I mean, I wish everybody could just, work 50% or some half-time, part-time, because I think it improves life, because you have the free time to do whatever you want. You have no obligation, I would say, from which is coming from externally. But I mean, in IT, there's a lot of people or places where you can work part-time, and it's and it still is enough money, for example, and I don't know. So, but not in that environment, I would say it's worth trying.
But now you mentioned something really important. That is the fact that we are in a special environment, right? All of us here, everyone that's watching us, we're talking for developers here. So we are all in this very special environment that's software development, that allows us to work remotely, allows us to interact with people all over the world in our day job, allow us to have things like open source. It's not every industry that has like an open source like thing that we could work on, right? So isn't it sad that a lot of people are not benefiting from this?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I have this problem. So I really like automation, but I also see that we need to change the world a little bit, so that if everything ends up being automated, that people they just have time, but they don't have to worry about the life. I mean, so I think what we usually see is that stuff gets automated, and there's a lot of worry for the people that get fired, or jobs get replaced and stuff like that. So people are very optimistic that there will always be jobs, but I'm not sure. I mean, with stuff that's going on right now, with computers getting kind of intelligent, I find it's a bit scary, and we should really look out for each other. So that's right. And actually, I was seeing the other day, there was this research about jobs that could potentially be replaced by artificial intelligence. And software developers is there somewhere. I'm not sure how down the list it is, but
you know, it's not one of the easy ones,
Yeah.
right? But you
I
know,
think we used to say, oh, it's impossible because there will always be people that need to write software. Or we see what's going on with machine learning right now, and it's a bit scary. They get some things done. So
Yes.
I'm not so sure about it. Maybe maintenance and very special software development, but will rest longer. But who knows? So,
right. Are you Werner working on anything in artificial intelligence, like a GSR for artificial intelligence? Not yet.
Not at the moment, although of course the whole area of semantics, whether it's money or units, needs to be applied in certain areas in order to make the right decisions. So
right.
I would say maybe some of the groundwork, but
right.
not. Others may use that in AI solutions.
It's nice to, a lot of times it's nice for that you kind of do this infrastructure work, right? So you're doing like units of measurement. You said you work on Java EE and you work on security. So you're kind of laying the groundwork so other people can build on top of, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So you there watching us, if you have any questions, you know, we have a few more minutes here to talk. But if you have any questions, don't forget to type in the chat so we can answer your questions. I think the whole objective of this trip is getting very cool, interesting developers talking directly to you, wherever you are. So actually, if you want to go ahead, I see some old faces here, but if you want to go ahead and tell us where you are from. So where are you from? You're here from Karlsruhe?
Originally, I'm from Hessen, Middle Germany, I would say.
Okay.
So I moved down here. I don't know, almost 10 years ago.
10 years ago. So you moved down here because you had this arrangement? Or
no.
The arrangement
actually, so the thing is, I moved down here to go to university, but
nice.
I stopped studying because when I saw that it's not working out, and I started working here as a system administrator, and then moved on to being a software developer. Kind of works out, I think, precisely because I have this interest in also doing after the work, doing some IT stuff. And,
nice.
Friends moved down to here to study too, so I kind of followed with a good friend of mine.
Okay.
Ended up here, and it's nice, so I like it.
All right, so Karlsruhe has a strong university community, thing like that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of IT here, so a lot of companies that are doing software or hardware stuff like this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So how about let me kind of switch gears a little bit here. Werner, you're saying that when you start talking about this in the beginning, saying that you got a job for a company in Switzerland because they knew what you're doing. Do you actually go there to work for them, or you working remotely?
No, I went there.
I
was working in Bern before working here. I worked in Bern for pretty much 2/3 of last year.
Right. So, but you, since you work for a lot of different companies, do you do a lot of remote work or not? Because you travel a lot too, right?
Yeah, except for some of the open source projects, of course. That like the GSR, we have somebody in Brazil, and we have people in North America. We have people in France, and even some in India or elsewhere. So that is very remotely. But even though in our team there are a few people who work only 2 days a week on site and the other 2 or 3 days off site, but I'm currently based here because I usually travel with my project. So
right. So you like to work physically in the place.
Usually I work on the same place, even though the same place may sometimes be in India or elsewhere. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. How about you? Do you do a lot of remote work, or you're actually working in the office?
Also work in the office, and I actually prefer that. I've seen it. At home, I'm kind of just. I would probably get distracted too easily.
Right.
So it's better. I mean, it's kind of. For me, it's easier to work directly. You have the people where you can ask questions or give some feedback to, and it's a bit. This direct contact helps me a lot with my work.
Okay, so I'm a person that I do like to work remotely, right? I do like to have the freedom because I do travel a lot. I do like to have the freedom to be able to work remotely when it's needed and everything. But it's very nice to see 2 people that actually prefer to work on site. And Werner, why do you think it's better to work on site? What do you get out of it?
I think especially we are in a way agile team, and I've seen cases actually here now. We also have people who dial in, and it works relatively well, but they're still all in the same time zone. But I've seen some of that with people that are in London, and some that are in Scandinavia, and others that are in Asia, and especially because of the time zones. So we didn't have the luxury of having our stand up at 10 or 11 like we do here, but we had to have it maybe at 7 or 8 because otherwise the people in India would already have gone home.
Right.
So it can be very challenging if you have a global project and you need to have a stand up. But on the other side, agile doesn't really work well unless you have a common meeting and everybody can literally move their tasks on a board. Although we have software now, a few team members already started creating physical paper again because they feel more comfortable when they can move something. So that's of course something that only works if you have 1 or 2 teams that are all in the same place at least once or twice a week.
Right. Yeah. Okay. How about you? What do you're inside, right? You prefer?
No.
I find very interesting that you think that you would be easily distracted if you do have the very strong power of actually getting home and go study something instead of going out of riding bike or something else.
But I mean, it's still different. I get distracted easily. That's one problem. And the other thing is, I mean, I can stop it at any time. If there is something, or I have to go buy something that's, if I would work from home, I think the same things would happen, and then the workday would just stretch out.
Right.
I would say.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. What would probably happen. So
that's
yeah. So it's better for me if it's contained in some location and if I can work directly with it.
Right. I think you just touched a very important point, because a lot of times when you work remotely, you never have time. I mean, you never have a specific time, right? Because it looks like every time you are available, right? So at least when you go to the office and you work there, you have your time. When you leave, you're not available anymore, right?
It's kind of this, I would say.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, guys, if you guys don't have any more questions, I think, it's getting late here. It's, is that right? It's like 11:30, 11:40, is that the time? Yeah. So, so it's almost midnight here, and I got to let those 2 guys here go. So I'd like, thanks a lot for your participation. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Marcus. Thanks, everyone else that's watching us. And I'd like to thanks Clemens and Werner for your time here. And thanks for inviting us to come here, and thanks for joining us here to not only to discuss all these, but to do all the hacking that we're doing behind the wall. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot
for coming.
So, thanks, guys. A last word that you want to say to those guys? Go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe
okay.
some free time.
All right. Okay. Let me ask one specific question. I've been asking this question to almost everyone that I interviewed this week. So, if you had one tip, I'll start with you, and then I go to Werner, and then we end. You have one tip that you could give to the developers on how they could improve their careers, something that you did in the past that was working very well for you. What would you say?
I would say the best thing I did is actually to get to reduce my time so that I have more leverage on what I can do in my free time, because full time I did as a system administrator, and that was very hard. So it was very stressful, and I don't know. Depends on the development job, but I think there are probably also those that are very stressful, and that takes your energy. So that's not very good if you want to get far. Okay, very cool. So how about you, Werner? You had one suggestion.
If there's something, some problem that you're working on, don't hesitate to ask other people, even if you think the question may be stupid or ridiculous. Ask them, and in many cases that leads to solving a problem together. Right. So did you go through any situation where you thought the question was stupid, you did not want to ask, but when you did ask, you changed things? Yeah, I guess. Yes. One of the cases, yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. So so work less,
right? I mean, actually not work less. Were you saying that you had more time where you decide what you do?
Yeah.
Right. So find more time where you decide what you do and ask questions. I mean,
ask us, Bill. Somebody may have already solved your problem. That also takes your time.
Right. Yes. So I mean, so those are very, very good suggestions. So you guys right there have some more things to think about how to improve your career. So thanks you guys again. Thank you everyone. Thanks for joining us. Remember that tomorrow at 2 p.m. we're gonna interview Marcus. That is a amazing 3D software developer, and actually, he has all this kind of cool stuff with 3D printers and things like that. So we're gonna be in Frankfurt tomorrow interviewing him. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay, I'll stop the broadcast now.